You all, we are not licensed professionals. We are just here on this roller coaster called life, trying to be better friends to one another, trying to be better human beings on this planet. If you're tuning in, we are not opting out of therapy. We are not advocating that you listen to us and not see someone who is licensed and trained to help you with day-to-day life on how to cope and deal. So we advocate for therapy a lot here. We believe that everyone has something to talk to somebody about. So just like to make that disclaimer that we're just here giving our opinions and having discussions week by week, and we're hoping that maybe you can find something useful, or if at least find a little humor in this terrible rock we call the world.
In other words, if you listen to our advice and you get popped in the mouth, don't at us.
Yeah, don't at me, because you may get popped in the mouth again. Welcome back to another episode of the Friendship University podcast. The podcast where we come up here and tell absolute truths for whatever reason in hopes that it will inspire you to be better. We're hoping that in us being a little less garbage every day, that you will decide to be a little less garbage. I am joined by the lovely Tarrah Coble again. Yay! Clap it up, clap it up. As you know, she's a resident now. She is a resident guest on this podcast. We have some awesome conversations, and I'm so thankful that she continues to show up as her authentic self and give the world knowledge and love and peace through her conversation and her music and everything in between. If you're new here, she's a singer, she's a songwriter, she is a philanthropist, she is an influencer, she is a business owner, CEO, she is a beauty entrepreneur, she is makeup, she is fashion, she is all things Jesus, all things God, capital G, no lowercase g around here. So we'll have all the handles for you to check her out in the bio and in the description box below. But welcome again, Tarrah, to another Friendship Friday. How you doing?
Oh my gosh.
Okay, Friendship Friday. Pew, 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 pew. Wop, 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 wop. Get him, friendship. Wop, 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 wop. Yes, welcome. How has your week been? How have you been these last 7 days?
It's been amazing. It's been awesome. I just recently returned. I was in Jamaica for a retreat with shout out to Imagine More Academy, which does these amazing retreats, which gives people opportunity to get coaching, take part in travel, service projects, and we were in the beautiful Ocho Rios, Jamaica. It was insane. All the good food I got to eat. Shout out to all my Jamaicans that y'all get to eat that year round.
Delicious.
Oxtail, jerk chicken, rice and peas, cabbage. The patty. Just all of the amazing things that y'all get to eat.
Ooh.
So it was amazing. We got to just minister and share the gospel at a school with hundreds, kind of probably at least 1,000 young people, and that was amazing. I got to sing. I sung a few times, and it was just an awesome experience. So if you want to visit somewhere with like some people who have the local experience, but it's also a very elevated experience, we stayed in a state-of-the-art, upper echelon, nice, beautiful villa with private access. It was just crazy. So I had an amazing time, and I just can't wait to go back. I love to travel, so I can't wait to go back somewhere new or just go somewhere.
Sounds amazing. And this time of year is very beautiful out there. The weather is super nice. super peaceful. That sounds awesome.
And
So
can I just briefly just tell the like brief testimony of how I didn't pay to go. This was
enlighten the people on
thousands
the
of
grace of
dollars
God.
for this trip. And someone felt like God put on their heart to pay for me to go because I was supposed to be there. This has not happened just one time, people. This is my second time that this has happened. Somebody has paid for me to go on this amazing retreat. So I just want to say there's nothing too hard for God. There's nothing impossible. I mean, if you can dream it, it can happen. So, hey, you never know. Just have your passport ready because that's how I ended up going the first time. So have your passport. You never
Stay
know.
ready so you don't have
Stay
to
ready.
get ready.
Yes. That's for somebody because somebody ain't got their passport, but they want to go somewhere.
But you can't be dreaming of these places and you can't even get on the plane. You can't even get
Yes,
through TSA.
you're gonna need your
We'll,
passport.
we'll turn you around. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Do today what you will be happy with tomorrow.
Yes, passports. Get your passport, ma'am, sir, ma'am, sir.
That's a word because I didn't realize how not it's way more normal now, but in the past growing I didn't really realize that people just hadn't had their passport since they were younger. Like I've had my passport since I was a baby, so I just never knew that there were like people out here who didn't have passports. I was just like, oh, I thought it was a part of like you get the birth certificate, you get like that's what I thought. And then when I grew up and people were like, no, I got to get my passport and just different things like that, you just kind of realize no, it's actually not as common as you think. And I'm definitely grateful for having had the ability to have one. And I encourage everyone to get their passport. Like you just never know. You just never
You
know where you
really,
can end up.
the opportunities are endless, and I think sometimes we take for granted. I saw this video on TikTok. He was like, we take for granted. He was from Europe, and he was like, y'all judge Americans for not being well traveled, but America is
It's huge. And you
ginormous.
can drive. I mean, you drive. If you're doing a cross country trip, that's 5-6 days. And this is you not stopping overnight in certain cities. It can easily turn into a couple of weeks for you doing that. So,
Yeah,
you
just
know,
the sheer magnitude. So you can go all these places in America and not need your
yeah,
passport.
yeah,
So no judgment or anything. But if that is a desire of you to travel abroad, then take the time, do what you need to do. It is not the easiest process. It does take a lot of different documentation and making the appointment and going following up and got to pay like three hundred
you gotta
dollars
pay. Yeah, the money
getting
can be. Yeah.
getting the photos, passport photos. It is tedious, but here's what I did, because it wasn't my first time. I had to update my passport. I had got my passport, then I had to update it. um, get a folder and keep everything in one place, and then just go check by check and mark,
Yeah, yeah.
and you
This
can
is
do
for the
it.
adult girlies. If you are still, it's okay if your mother still has your birth certificate under the mattress. Go get it. Make a copy, and don't make a copy from a Xerox machine because they're not going to take that. Go get an official copy from
Official
like
copy.
Staples or Notary or somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And have that for your own sake. Have your social security card, and I'm telling you, once you get it, it's like so easy. I will say I did have to go through the process of renewing my passport for the first time as an adult a few
Mm-hmm.
years ago,
Same.
and it was kind of ghetto a little bit.
Yeah,
I ain't gonna hold
yeah.
you.
It
It
can.
was a little ghetto. I was like, because they was like, your birth certificate is in this country, and we don't accept it. And I was like, what? And I was like leaving to go somewhere within the month, so I'm thinking it should be easy peasy lemon squeezy. And I was running back and forth, and yeah, so we're not saying that it is going to be the easiest process, but the reward at the end is so well worth it. Like
Yeah.
Tarrah said, you just never know who is going to be willing to do what for you or where you're going to be able to end up going. I have worked for companies that have said, we're going to send these people overseas or to these other countries. And if you don't have a passport, then it's just like you're automatically out of the running. So
Mm-hmm.
don't automatically count yourself out. Go out there, do the work, and you can do all of the pre-work online. You can get the paperwork. You can see the list of everything you need to have to actually get the passport. You can set yourself up for success when you get there. And then again, like, we know it's a privilege. Everybody doesn't have $300 to drop, on something they feel is frivolous. But we just don't want you to look at a passport as frivolous. It's a
Can,
door of opportunity.
oh my God, so true. And I just cannot just add to that. I was talking to one of the drivers in Jamaica, and he was just like, Americans, y'all have a free ticket. Y'all can go almost anywhere with your passport. And it's
Mm-hmm.
not like that for people from every country.
Mm-hmm.
Some of you have to have a visa, you have to be
Mm-hmm.
all this stuff to even just go for 5 days. Like, it can be like they don't have the
Yeah.
opportunity. So if you are in America and you don't have your passport, like, I would heavily encourage you to get it, because you just
Mm-hmm.
never know what opportunities are going to come your way.
Absolutely.
Do
So
you want to work abroad? My dream, let's just before we go to the next topic, I would love to, like, I just saw how Costa Rica is allowing people work
mm-hmm.
permits. You could work there for 2 years, and just like, if you're doing what we're doing right now, like podcasting, you can do that over there. Like, you do not have to, you can just really, if you're living a lifestyle where your work is all digital based, you can literally do that from anywhere. And that's my dream, to be able to go for a few months here and there. Me and Chris, we can just, go for a little
We be
while.
like,
and,
peace.
and maybe we'll all be doing this from Zanzibar in a few months. You never
We
know.
could be
You never know.
anywhere. We can be in
Tanzania.
Ghana. We could be in Morocco. We can.
Yes.
I work
Let's
for a
vision.
company.
Let's
Yeah,
dream.
I would love that. I have had the ability to work remote in other companies, and I mean, I've worked from. I wasn't considered an expat. I wasn't moved there or lived there, but I have worked from other countries before, just on vacation and visiting. And I was there for a few weeks, and did a little bit of work while I was there. But I would love to be able to travel and just be in these countries for a year or even 6 months or whatever time frame. So you just never know,
You
and
never know.
your feet will never take you where your mind hasn't already gone. So if you're
Yeah.
looking and you're seeing and you're dreaming of these white sand beaches, and you're dreaming, and it doesn't even have to be like this resort-esque experience, right? Maybe you're just dreaming of seeing something different, seeing
Mm-hmm.
wildlife you've never seen, seeing foliage, greenery,
Absolutely.
seeing mountains, volcanoes, things you've never
Mountains.
seen in reality, or in your reality. Set yourself up to be able to actually make the move to get there. So
Wouldn't
yeah,
that be so cool?
I
Friendship University
believe.
goes to another country? Come
Okay,
on.
we're
Come
gonna
on.
take this. I believe that. I love speaking into an existence, friend, because we
Absolutely.
are
Coming to
taking this
you
on
live from
tour.
Morocco.
Okay, we are going to be taking this university on tour. Your classes will be in person in your city very soon.
International.
Okay,
Global.
class is in session, baby. We are going to be global. And
Yes.
I know we have some global listeners, because I have looked at some of our analytics, and we have listeners in Africa, we have listeners in Europe, we have listeners all over the world. So keep supporting us. That's a very good segue. One way that you can support us is to not only listen but rate our podcast, share it with friends. These are very easy. They don't cost you any monetary funds to be able to do this, because we want to keep growing this platform. We want to get the word out there that people are our greatest resource, right? And we want to build connections. We want to foster relationships. We really want to build it up to where people can commune and feel connected to one another. So Get the word out there. If you want Friendship University live in your country, drop it on our social media, drop it wherever you're listening. Let us know what
Absolutely.
country you're tuning in from, and we're going to continue to try to make it happen, right? So,
Absolutely.
on that note, you can anticipate episodes from us every Friday, Friendship Fridays. Pew, pew, pew,
Pew,
pew.
pew, pew.
Yeah, so the last 7 days for me have been pretty chill. Nah, I guess I can't use the term chill. I've been doing some work, meeting some new people. It's been nice, getting out of the house and exploring my new city and exploring other cities in the area. So there is a lot. I I mean, this can be true for any city. Summertime is very lively anywhere you go, for sure. There is a lot that happens in the DMV area during summer. Like, it is very lively. The people are outside. They're ready
Outside.
to be outside. So, I've been trying to be outside, but Auntie is a little tired sometimes. So, I fell asleep very early Friday night. Didn't even realize I fell asleep. And yeah, I've been dealing with that. I lost my wallet. I'm not gonna say I misplaced my wallet. I do not know where my wallet is. It's a very crazy story. Long story short, the last time I saw it was last Saturday. I realized it was missing on Monday. There had been no charges. There was nothing that had happened on to any of my accounts. Um, I'm praying a good Samaritan maybe found it and mailed it back to the address that's on my license. If I'm being completely honest, I'm really not upset about losing my cards per se. I have a collection of library cards that I've accumulated from multiple cities over the years. And I'm
Oh,
actually a little bit more upset about losing those than anything else. Um, so here's hoping that it makes its way back to wherever it needs to make it. But outside of that, everything's been good. Everything's been chilled. I will say I'm very thankful because we know Mother's Day. We're actually recording on Mother's Day today. So, belated happy Mother's Day to all of the women out there who step and fill those humongous shoes to shape generations and mold and grow and birth children, or even take on the responsibility of being mother. That doesn't necessarily mean they had to come out of your womb. Anyone who has stepped into that role and really been a pivotal part of someone's upbringing in that way, we salute you. We thank you. We give a huge shout out. Nobody can do what you do, boo. Remember that. You are who you are because God ordained you to be that way. So, shout out to all the moms out there. We love you so much. But I was going to give my mother tickets to the Anita Baker concert in Atlanta. That was going to be her Mother's Day gift. And I was actually going to try to fly back and go with her. And Anita Baker canceled the concert, girl. She canceled it minutes before the show was supposed to start last night. Yeah. Heated. Like, Atlanta was very heated. We don't know why, what happened. There's speculation that she just didn't get back in time because she was at a commencement ceremony for an honorary degree for someone else in California. And so they're saying maybe she just didn't make it back in time or whatever. But I would have been very upset had I flown back and bought those tickets and not been able to see Miss Baker. Girl, you've seen her live though. No, you've seen her, right? You said that was a great concert. That's
phenomenal.
yeah.
Yeah, it was a phenomenal concert. She did an excellent job. It's for her to be, first of all, her voice has not aged, which is like not usually the case. Usually people's voices have aged. You can tell they can't do what they couldn't do before. All these things. Her voice is still pristine, in pristine condition. Now, of course, she can't like move like she was when she was 25, but she moves very well, and she danced, she sang. She sang all the hits. She was a little late for us, and there wasn't an opener because when I went, that was after Babyface had left the tour, which I could only imagine that him being there would have been just like so amazing to go from him and all of his amazing hits to her.
Oh
That have
yeah.
been just such a, so the people that got to see both of them, I mean, they really, really got
Hit the jackpot,
one.
really. Yeah.
Yeah, like that would have been a sensational concert. But yeah, she was phenomenal. Phenomenal. I was blown away at how good she was, still.
I mean, I hope everything's okay. I would have loved to have seen her. She is someone who has been on kind of a bucket list for, because I love to go to concerts, especially people who I never thought I would actually be able to see live. So when I saw she was going on tour, it was just like, how do I make this happen? But yeah,
It was great. Phenomenal.
maybe she was scheduled for Atlanta.
I hope
I
so.
did hear that I think they're giving refunds to people, but
Mhm.
that's like one of my nightmares, right? Because I travel for certain shows and festivals and stuff because they just canceled, what was that, Lovers and Friends, the Usher's festival. They canceled that too
They
because,
just canceled that?
oh yeah, they canceled it the day of. That was supposed to be last weekend or the weekend before, and there was just a weather advisory in Vegas. Like the winds were so aggressive and dangerous that they had to cancel. They had to
It
cancel
was,
it. Like
it's
people were
so,
on stage doing sound check and they got the call that the festival was done. We can't do it.
and it's crazy because like I literally just looked at that list of like the lineup, was like every single person,
Jam
like
packed. Jam
everybody you
packed
can think of
is on
was
this show.
on the ticket
Hmm.
on these different stages. I was like, oh my God, that's gonna be crazy. But it
It's a
didn't even
jam
happen.
packed show. I think this is the second or third year he's done it. The only reason I haven't gone is because the bill is so it's so heavy and there's so many people that I want to see. Festivals are already a little tricky to navigate if you have multiple people you want to see. There is a very huge possibility that people will be on at the same time, and so you have
Yeah,
to
that's tough.
decide. And so because Lovers and Friends is so jam packed with so many heavy hitters, I've just never wanted to put myself in the situation where it's like I gotta choose between, I'm saying, a Missy Misdemeanor Elliott or and somebody else, or different things like
I
that.
know Missy show is good. I already know
Oh
her
yeah,
show.
I'm going to, she's on tour. She's going on tour with Busta Rhymes and
I
Sierra.
saw
So
that.
I will be bum 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 bum. Yes, it will be 2006 for me the entire night. I am going to thoroughly enjoy myself.
How are we when we can get your freak on? Get your
Get
freak
your freak
on.
on. Get your. We. Why were we? We
Quiet
were like, we were children talking about something. I don't want no Minute
children.
Man. What? Don't even know what a Minute Man is.
Inappropriate. You're
Don't even know what a
inappropriate.
Minute Man is. Minute Maid, perhaps. Minute Man, absolutely not. Don't even know what that is. But we were out
Shut your
here,
mouth. Quiet when I
uh, out
like
here talking about I
yo.
can't stand the rain
Dum,
in
dum,
trash
dum.
bags. I got
Trash
in so
bag.
much trouble because I tried to recreate that look, and my mother was like, my mom was like, "Do you know how expensive trash bags are? And you
They
out here ruining
expensive.
these trash."
Got your arm in one trash bag.
I had ruined like 5 trash bags. She was so mad.
I'd have been hot. You
She
finna go
was
down
so
to
she was so
give me some
upset.
more.
Okay. She was like, "Do you know how expensive trash bags are?" At the time, no, I didn't. Now as an adult, I understand.
As
Yes,
an
trash
adult, you
bags
was like, trash
are.
bags are
But
expensive.
at the time, I just felt I was gonna be Missy Elliott. I had the little vacuum cleaner hose thing. I was trying to like blow it up and blow it out. It was, yeah, good times. So Anita, we're sending love. We're hoping that you're okay,
Oh,
and we hope that the people of Atlanta are able to witness your glorious performance at some point. I hope one day to be able to also see you live.
she's phenomenal.
Yeah,
Phenomenal.
that's no small feat for
Yeah.
people out there who know, who are vocalists, who are musicians, singers, songwriters. Being able to hold that kind of stamina for this many
For two
decades.
hours on back to back. every
There
day.
are people half her age who can't do that. A quarter of her age who can't do a 2 hour set and really be.
And she was bringing it. Ah, she was bringing it.
Um.
I mean,
There
she was
was.
up there. She didn't bring them keys down either. I'm pretty sure them was the original keys. She was really, I mean, she did what needed to be done.
Wow.
But I would have loved to see Babyface as well. That's all I'm saying.
Babyface would have probably made the show exceptional.
Yeah,
Like,
I think they just complimented each other, and I
it
just
makes
think
sense.
it just makes sense that they
Mhm.
would be on tour together. So I totally respect their differences and everything, but I could have definitely see how having Babyface before her would have just set her up even more because it's just beautiful. She did a beautiful set.
You've been on tours before, and as an artist, there's a lot of conversation around Anita Baker being a little difficult. One of the reasons Babyface is no longer on the tour could potentially be one of that. You don't have to name any names or anything, but have you ever encountered that behind the scenes, dealing with a difficult artist, dealing with someone who is just not really trying to make it a cohesive atmosphere for the group, the collective of people that are out there trying to make it happen?
I can't say that the artist can be difficult as far as what I have met. Everybody I met to the degree. I was in like a more on the inspirational side. So I haven't met a lot of people who are just like, oh, they terrible. The artists themselves. Now management, that is different. And teams are different because
A lot of
they
people don't
kind
take that
of
into account.
yeah, they kind of have to be the muscle. That's pretty much their job. They are the management is the muscle, so the artist can be the like like
The
ting,
face.
like they can be sweet and just have fun and perform and leave and all of that. So but the management has to be the muscle, road managers, all of that. They kind of have to have that no nonsense because people will try to play you, especially when you're dealing with everybody doesn't have the same level of professionalism. Sometimes you're in other countries, they have other customs. Sometimes you're
Good
dealing with
point.
people who ain't got your money. I'm not gonna go all into that, but you never know. It's all kinds of scenarios that where you're dealing with people. So different expectations and all of that. So that management, they have to be the muscle. That's just their job. And so when you're the muscle, you kind of got to be a no nonsense person, and they're not always fun, but they're necessary. So, but the artists I have met, cool, pretty cool.
I don't think a lot of people think about the machine it takes on the back end to make certain things happen. And because you are the face of something, you are the one who gets that scrutiny that just comes with the territory. But there are decisions being made behind the scenes for the embetterment, like you said, of things to make sure that they work smoothly. And
Yeah,
yeah.
and for me, I just see it as you have to see it as anytime you're dealing with somebody's livelihood, how they provide for their family, how they are able to make a life for themselves, you got to bring it. I mean, it just is what it is. It is a level of professionalism and excellence that you have and you have to possess to make sure things get done. And so if things are not getting done how they need to get done, you can't just always be like, oh guys, we'll get them next time. Well, these people pay $150 for their tickets and they don't want to hear we'll get them next time. They want you to come. They want you to come and they want you to bring it. And it's kind of like what Michael Jordan used to say, well, why did you play so hard every game? He was like, well, every game, these are new people that paid their hard-earned money to see us play, and they deserve our very best. And that's kind of how I think of it. Like when you're dealing with artists, everybody, this machine, these people deserve your best. You know, people don't have to support your art. People don't have to purchase tickets or come see you. I'm planning events right now, and I'm just kind of like, ugh. Like people, the fact that people show up and they take an interest and support what you do, it's a blessing. And you need to, when they come, you need to be given it the best you can. So that's why we have these long rehearsals. I'm talking hours and hours of rehearsing.
That's dedication, because I can imagine that everybody's doing that. I've been to some shows where I'm like, there's no way you did a sound check. There's no way you did a run through of anything.
I guess
Get on
I guess
stage.
I guess it depends on the artist, because the artists I work with, they're doing hours of rehearsals, background vocals, hours on hours till your throat is raw. Well, that's how I learned that I was singing incorrectly. Fun fact. I was like, oh my God, I've been singing for like 15 hours and now I'm like going down fast. So it made me run and figure out like, how do I sing more, better? And yeah, so when you support an artist, they're really giving it their all, hopefully. But a lot of artists do. They truly do.
That's good. I'm glad that you brought that up, because people do. I have heard that Michael Jordan quote before, for sure, and I don't know if the artists we have who have been coming out lately hold that mentality. There's a lot of, for me as someone who has been a patron of live musical events for a very long time, there is a disparity in artist development that's happening, I think.
Wow.
And we're throwing people on stages, and I'm not talking small. We're not talking community. You're at your local like large festival stages for the first time,
Wow.
and they are not
Ready.
to do
Yeah.
that. I don't think we really take into account all that goes in on the back end. And I mean, I have worked with artists. We've even, like, music wise, even doing this podcast, there are just things you do not see, and that honestly, if you're not in that field, you'll never be privy to. You really don't have any reason to be privy to it, if we're being
Yeah.
honest. Like, you're coming, you want to see what you want to see. This is what you paid your money to see. This isn't a history lesson or some type of thing where you need to know what's going on the back end. And I really want people to the respect, I think, that we give the people who we revere as icons, that portion of it plays a part. And I don't think a lot of people take that into consideration, right? Like the work, it's not
Oh my
just them
goodness.
getting up there and sounding good. It's the back end work. It's
so much.
It's the vocals. It's the background vocals who have been practicing. It's making sure everything is in harmony. It's making sure that the musicians know this, the transitions, I
The tracks,
enjoy.
everything.
I will say this.
Lights, wardrobe, makeup,
One person I
hair.
think was just really great at showing the way that they have been able to maintain in their artistry, I think, was Usher. I've been listening to Usher since I was a kid. You know what I'm saying? And he got up on that I saw him with his Vegas residency. I was blessed enough to be able to go to that show. Amazing show. I mean, vocally bringing it, sounding just like the tracks. You knew the mic was on. Visually bringing it, setting it up, making sure that we are entertained, interacting with the audience, just like really honing that craft. And he did that for 100+ shows in Vegas.
Yeah.
And seeing it live and comparing it to every single video I've seen on social media, they are the same. Every show was the same. I can even say that I've seen Beyonce live, and Beyonce is a master performer, right? Like, she's gonna bring it. I was at the show when Beyonce fell, and she still got up. she fell in. It was like 2008 or it was somewhere early, and she got right back on up and
Wow.
kept it pushing.
That's
And
a
I said,
professional.
yeah, professionalism there. I
Hmm.
think a piece of it is because it's so tied to your heart and who you are, and you love it, so you want to give it your all. Right there, there is not necessarily anything wrong with wanting to be successful in your craft, but if money and success is what your motivation is preceded upon, you'll never be the greatest. You'll
Hmm.
never be able to really give the people what they're looking for because you're in it for the wrong motives. And I think the people that
Hmm.
we revere as great, the people who are really out there giving it their all night after night after night, are really in it to win it, like with their heart.
Yeah.
So
I
that's
think
just, yeah.
I love that because I think I'm so grateful for the opportunity to do some tours and all that, like touring and stuff
Mhm.
like that. Because as an artist, like it really helped me to understand all the machine, like you said, that it takes everybody working cohesively in this vision of this person that is the lead, but they're the lead, but it's 20 people that's making this happen. If these 20 people are not in place, what you know as them is not there. And so it just really helped me to understand that these artists, a lot of times, they have to wear multiple hats. They have to be a leader. They have to, cast a vision. They have to be the artist. They have to be, a lot of them are writers. A lot of them are musicians. So I don't know if we give, artists the love that they deserve and the support that they deserve
I
for
don't think,
all of the
especially now,
work
we
that they
don't.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're so tough on artists. Like, oh, this wasn't this and this wasn't that. All the comments, and it's just like, well, you do it. Do you know how hard it took? No, seriously. Like, no shade, but do you know how much work was put into getting? Like, I recorded an EP, like all of the rehearsal and all of the stages that you took your song from nothing to an idea, to a concept,
Mhm.
to a rough draft, like um to it, bringing it to a band rehearsing it, to teaching these parts and creating parts, and to where we rehearse, and then you do a live recording, and then after you live record, it's not even done. Then you have to take it to the post production side and all of that, everything that goes into that. So I don't know that we just like really support and give artists the love that it really takes for them to produce things. We're like, oh, heard the song, oh, we're moving on. Like, so
Mhm.
we're in a single culture. Like, I'm totally understanding of that. It's all about singles and about songs and stuff like that. I'm actually
And I
looking to
mean,
do
we are
some.
creatures of instant gratification.
We are.
A majority of the population, the human population, and I can't even say human
Yeah.
because all beings are looking for that instant. Like, how can I get to what I want to get to the fastest? Right?
Yeah, absolutely. I wonder how. Yeah, so I was talking to a producer in Jamaica. I'm looking to do some stuff there and some
Come
music there.
on, island.
Listen, we're just doing music all over. That's a secret. Don't tell nobody. Okay. Anyway, so I
You
go to
heard it
Jamaica
here,
like multiple times a year.
exclusive.
Well, I go to Jamaica multiple times a year,
Yeah.
so I want to be able to share, some stuff that just connects with them. Okay, and so he was basically telling me how the culture is over there. They're big on singles, and it's
Mhm.
like that here too, but there it's even bigger. So nobody really puts out albums like that until they like put out all their singles, which is kind of
Mhm.
how it was for Thriller type of situation. But
Mhm.
I was watching something about Thriller, and they were just talking about how Thriller didn't shoot to the roof
Mm-mm.
initially. It
Mm-mm. He
like
didn't.
was a slow build. It was a slow
Mhm.
burn for Thriller, which
He
ended up being the
consistently was
hype.
putting out visuals, putting out promo, doing a lot of things that created traction and buzz around the album, and then it became what it is today. Yeah, for sure.
Which is a testament because I know as artists, this is must gonna be a segment, artist talk. I know as artists that like it's hard to keep showing up. You put out a song and keep talking about this song. It's like, well, if they ain't heard about it now, but I just take a lesson from that Michael Jackson situation. Like, you need to run that song into the ground until people keep hearing it. And I have to take that advice myself, because I would put my song out and be like, okay, that heard a few times. No, I've been constantly studying, because, I'm into social media and content creation, and studying how independent artists are putting out their music and all the different innovative, creative ways that they're sharing their music, and all the different videos. And literally, these people have to do 15 to 20 videos before one song, before it really starts to move. And so, encourage you, don't quit. Take a lesson from MJ.
If you can take a lesson from anybody, I would say Michael Jackson would be somebody to take the lesson from. Okay, like my boy
So
was
when
out here
y'all
doing
get
the work.
15 videos on this one song,
Don't be
listen, blame
mad. I
him.
mean, but it makes sense, right? It makes sense from a psychological standpoint, because I have done psychological training and evaluation and even adult learning, and it takes upward of 7 times for you
Seven
to hear
times.
something to retain
Mm-hmm.
just 80% of it. So you're
Yeah.
not even retaining the whole thing, but you have to hear something over and over and over and
Over and
over
over again.
again to even retain a majority of what you heard. So it definitely makes sense. I mean, I think about one song that comes to mind. I do not know this young man's name. I'm so sorry, but that I ain't stressing today. I ain't stressing.
Okay.
I remember
I don't
seeing
know who
that
that's
on.
by.
So he was. This song blew up on social media, right? And he that when it blew up, the song had already been out for over 2 years. He had
Wow.
released it 2 years prior
Girl,
to it blowing
stop
up.
it.
He was posting it on his social media every single day with the
For
same
2 years?
dance. With the same dance. I ain't stressing today. Then yeah, and it started to catch on, and people started using the soundbite, and then it started blowing up, and then that kind of opened the door for him to be able to introduce you to his other music, which, by the way, he does make some really great music. I do not know his name, but if you hear the I Ain't Stressing Today, if you search the I Ain't Stressing Today song on any
Mm-hmm.
social media platform, you'll probably find him. But yeah, and so I'm just like, wow. And you're seeing this trend of artists on social media who are like, day 150 of me posting my lo-fi beats or me posting my jazz till it catches on. And I'm not mad at it. You being someone who is in the realm of content creation and having to dive into the social media world, which I have reluctantly been doing. And it's not that I have anything against social media. It's just I really be so unbothered. I really don't even be thinking about it. Like I have catalogs of photos and video and just so much footage of the life that I've lived, and I'm so content for it being for myself.
Mm-hmm.
I get why you want to share it, because sometimes I'm like, yeah, I want people to see how great this is, but doing something repetitively, I've even seen even just small fruits of that labor over the last few months of just that repetition and not
Consistency.
that consistency and
Whew.
keep going. Yeah. So
That is, can I be honest? That has not been my strong suit. And it's not that I felt like I've lacked ability in a lot of things. It's just consistency. Anything that is going to build and grow is going to take consistent habit
mhm.
and consistent work. And I would just encourage anyone listening to challenge yourself. And we're all on a journey. We're all on that challenge, that we can all challenge ourselves.
Mhm.
What is something that I always wanted, and all it would take is me being consistent in it.
Mhm.
Whether that's to train your body, whether that's to train your mind, whether that's to put out something that's important to you, or reach a certain level of success. What is something that, if I was just consistent in it, that my life would change? I would just encourage you to do that. I would
Yeah.
encourage you to do that. So I think we can all accept that challenge. And then we want to hear back from you.
Yes.
I think we should do a challenge. What
What you
What
want
challenge would I
to
think we should do like a 30-day challenge of just like consistently doing something toward just a personal goal.
do? Okay, I'm down for
Okay.
it. I dig it.
Okay, what challenge? This is off our dome. This is live, y'all. We didn't think of this. What is something that you want to do for 30 days consistently to just challenge yourself?
I would love, since we've been talking about consistency in the realm of continuing to share your art and your creations, I would love to do a 30-day challenge of posting to social media every single day for 30 days. One
Let's do
post.
a 30-day posting challenge.
Yeah, one
Let's do
post.
it.
And if you're out here, if you're out there, you're listening and you're an artist or you're a creator or what influencer or whatever, and you have something that you want to share with the world, we are challenging you. We will be doing it as well. Post to your social media accounts what you're creating, what you're working on, and just do it. I'm going to do it for Friendship University podcast. I'm going to commit.
And and
Let's
I'm gonna do it
Yeah.
for Tarrah Global Music for my music page. I'm also going to do it for content creation because that is part of what I do.
Yes, it
So,
is. Yes, it
and
is.
I help people create content. So that is super fun. I started this company about a year ago. I was not trying to do it, but God really put it on my heart to do it. I was even telling Christian, like, oh,
You're like, I
Chris,
don't
I
want to do
don't want to
it.
do
And
this.
I was like,
But
but you're
it,
good at it.
it wasn't that I didn't want to do it. I just was already doing other
Mm-hmm.
things. And sometimes we're so stuck in
Mm-hmm.
what we're doing, and God is trying to just pivot us and
Pivot.
so that we can have the life we want and we can help people.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll always love beauty. I'll always continue to be in beauty, but I'm pivoting. And because people use beauty, beauty has taken off because they have everybody's in front of a camera now. And
Mm-hmm.
so just to be able to help support people as they create content has been something I have just fallen in love with. Helping people tell their stories has been something I have just absolutely helping people build their brand and have their dream
I think that's why you're
and
so
see them
good at it,
grow.
because you're really good. You're really good at storytelling.
Thank you.
You're really good at storytelling. Come
Thanks.
on, bling, 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 bling. Every time I come around the city, my
Oh, somebody
Apple
bought
Watch
this
is
for my birthday.
blinking.
You know,
Okay. Not
yo,
me
you
with
so
my regular
silly.
sport brand. Okay. Up
Um,
my ante.
Cash money for the 2000. No, I'm just joking.
For the 99 and the
99 and
2000s.
2000. No, I just get to do that, and I didn't expect that pivot, but it's amazing. Okay, I'm going to briefly tell y'all a story of how embarrassed I was my whole life about the fact that I kept changing jobs, okay, and changing careers. Like,
Oh.
literally, I'm not going to go deep into this, but it was just like, what is your problem? Here's the thing. Can I tell y'all something? First, I was in like social work helping with youth. I've always been there for youth, had a heart for youth, for young people.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Then I was in beauty, working for MAC, working in the beauty realm, working in the beauty realm. So love that. Then I was a English teacher, writing, teaching young people, writing, storytelling, all of these things. Then I got into photography and videography, and I partner in a studio and photography and videography. So I was like really feeling some type of way, like, Lord, what is my problem? But here's the powerful thing, you guys.
Come on.
What does it take to create amazing content? You need a story, you need a script. That's the English part. You need hair and makeup, that's important. Beauty part, all of that. You need photography and videography, all of that. And so God was like, ding, 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 little girl, little girl, little girl, little girl. I was like, I can't do content creation. Like, I shouldn't do that. And he's like, no, you can. And you have all these skills. I gave you all of these skills to help you create.
Everything was a building block.
Everything was a building block to help create this content and help people tell their stories and help people bring their gifts out to the forefront. And so he's like, well, how many people you know can do this and have all these different skills? And I just saw it as like this disconnected jumping around, and I felt shame about it until like I was awakened, and it was like, no, I gave you all these skills because look at what you're doing now. You're helping people and all of those things you need to show up a great, in content. So let that be a lesson.
That's a good word. That's a good word.
He'll use all of it.
To all of our peeps out there who feel like you're kind of all over the place, if you are believing that you are destined for something, there is a very good chance that all of those blocks are stepping stones to get you to the next level.
Yeah.
That is so encouraging, especially to me. I consider myself an interdisciplinary artist, and my mind is just, oh, I gotta write a script today. Oh, I'm gonna do photography the next day. Oh, I gotta do the podcast. Oh, I'm drawing this. I done took up graphic design. Oh, I'm creating content. I'm in adult learning, so I'm like, oh, I'm creating it. Like, so my mind just be all over the place, and I'm like, Lord, like, help me. I'm like,
help me.
I'm happy when I'm creating, yeah, but I'm like, what does all of this fall into alignment? And
yes,
I think this podcast is a little bit of a testament to that, because I've always been good at speaking, and I've always always had a heart for connecting people, and I've always like wanting people to know. And so this just, small backstory on this, get out of your own way, like
get out of your own way,
because it took 10 years and it didn't have to. I had this idea back in like 2014, I think is the first time I think that may have been the first time I talked to you about it.
Wow. Yeah.
And I didn't actually get it off of the ground until 2022, which actually I think we're coming up on 2 years now. Yes, where the balloons at? The balloon. Ba-ba-ba-ba. We are coming up on 2 years of this podcast of consistency, right? And I'm very thankful for the people who have shown up for me in the way that I could have never imagined. The people who, that machine in the back end that's helping to make sure that this comes to fruition. I'm very thankful for the people that God has placed in my life to bring this vision forward, and I'm believing in the fruit of the labor. And I'm big on gardening and planting and different things, and sometimes you got to plow the land and seed it and grow it. Right now, the seeds have been planted and there's watering going on, and I truly believe that there's going to be a harvest soon from the things that we have watered. So great that we went off on a little tape. Maybe the artist spotlight, or so. Maybe we'll have a segment now on the Friendship University to kind of be able to talk about that kind of encouragement, art, and give space for that and give leeway for that. I think the last thing I wanted to talk about as far as it goes with what's going on in the world before we really hop into our discussion is I saw a tweet from a young man, and I thought it would be interesting to talk about. So I'm going to read the tweet. This was from it went, I guess you could say it went viral. That's how I came across it. But there was a guy, he tweeted, I just blocked and deaded friendships with 4 of my quote unquote homeboys. I had back surgery literally a month ago, and not one of those niggles checked on your boy. I ain't say nothing. I just blocked and let it be what it is. Niggles wasn't my real friends.
Wow.
Which I thought was interesting, because what are our expectations around our friends in the support realm when we go through these major life things, right? You can anticipate if you go through. I've had friends go to the emergency room because they had a sore throat and they ended up just having bronchitis, and I was like, keep me in the loop. You went in for back surgery, and
surgery is
4
crazy.
of your friends, 4 people who you consider your closest friends, didn't check on you at all.
Yeah, that's wild. But here's my question is, like, what was what was the nature of your relationship before? Is that a thing? Was that like
Yeah.
customary? Do y'all usually check on each other? Like, is
Good
that something
question.
y'all, was this like
Do
out
y'all
of the
have that
blue?
reciprocity? Do you talk? Did
Right.
they know you were going in for back surgery?
Right.
Did you tell them as it was happening? Or
Right. Did
like,
you downplay it? Because sometimes in our little
mhm.
ego, we downplay things like, oh, we good. Like, I got my people here. I'm good. I'm good. And then you tell everybody you good, you good. And then mad because they ain't check on you. Well, you told me you was good.
Is it apples or oranges? Like, which one do you want it to be? You try to make it seem like you were okay. And
Right.
so I,
So, and I'm not saying they shouldn't have checked, but
yeah.
it's a lot of things that questions that are left to be asked. Because do y'all even have that type of relationship? Maybe y'all the friends that go hoop and y'all don't talk to each other the rest till next time y'all hoop. You know?
Yeah, that is definitely, those are great points. These are things that I was thinking about when I was reading the tweet. I think these are also points that were brought up in the replies of the tweet itself. But I'm wondering, like there are small windows for non connection that happens. Even let's say we are just the people who hoop. Knowing the back culture of that, at some point you're talking. You're
Right.
still building connection. Y'all still homeboys. Whether you're waiting to get on the court, whether you're just getting off of the court, you're talking. Um, and I'm gonna assume that if you're saying that these are your friends, if you're using that term, that's not the only communication that you have. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Like there are
Mm-hmm.
pockets where you all overlap in sharing of your lives. I think here's my thing. I'm a sort of person who innately wants to always build connection in the sense of like, if you tell me you're going in for back surgery, regardless of the level of magnitude in which I consider you a friend, I could have just met you a week ago. I'm probably going to check in.
Yeah.
I'm
I
probably
think
going to
it's
just
I think
ask
that's
how you're
kind.
doing. Just even and that for me, that's where I had to kind of like think about it. Not even a text message, my guy.
Yeah, that's tough. To not even say anything.
My boy was
But
just looking for friendship. He just was looking for somebody to care.
yeah, but for him, honestly, I see it as a gift
Mm-hmm.
because those type of people weren't
No.
weren't
No.
if that's who you're surrounded by, that should be a check for you.
Yeah,
Like,
it should let you know that
these are the type of people I surround myself with, and they don't even check on me. What does that
no.
say about where I am?
I think it's a double fold. I think it's, what does it say about the people that I'm keeping in my circle, and why do I keep these people in my circle?
Right.
Why am I constituting someone as a friend who knew that I went? And I'm just going to assume that they knew, because I don't
Mm-hmm.
feel like you would tweet that and you didn't tell them you were having back surgery, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why am I constituting someone who is a friend who, this can't be the first time that something significant has happened in your life where they haven't checked in. It's oftentimes never that. It could have been to a smaller magnitude and you just didn't think it was a big deal. And now that you've gone through a major life change, you see it. But there are often small signs that lead up to things like this. Like, there's no way you've gone through something in the past, good or bad, and they never checked in on you.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I
That's
dare
nasty
one of
work.
my friends to not check in on me after I have back surgery. It
How could
will.
you not check on them? How
That
could you not?
not even. That's what I'm saying. Not even just. You didn't even text me. You ain't. Hey, bro, you good? How you doing?
Like, how did it go? How could you not check
You
them?
don't even know if
If
I'm
your friend had
alive.
back surgery, how could you not check them? That's weird. That's
You don't
very
even know if
strange.
the surgery was successful.
You don't know anything. So to me, it's like it would take more work for me not to check than to check. It'd be like work for me not to say nothing to you. Like, are we just gonna act like this didn't happen? That's very strange. This is strange.
We got to start. We got to start learning the true definition of terms. People, Merriam-Webster, wherever you got to go, Google.
Them
Now, of course, internet.
associates,
Yeah, those are associates, and they may not even be that. Them
they may be
people.
enemies because associates would check on you. People you meet at the Walla Call, how's your back? Hey, Bill, how's it going? How are ya? How are your butt? How's
How's it
your,
going?
how'd it
Right.
go? It's randoms that'll check on you. They ain't even checking on
I
you. They don't like
just met someone in my new city a few weeks ago, and they are already asking me about things that I have was telling them, and it's like you know what I'm saying, and so
we just met.
them people, them guys weren't your guys.
They
They
weren't your
they
guys.
weren't
They
your
weren't your
guys, and
guys.
I
They might
think
not even like you.
they may secretly.
Hate
We
you.
talked about last week snakes in your camp.
They might be some
They
saints.
may have been a snake in the camp,
Or you
and
need to evaluate yourself because maybe
mm-hmm. You could have downplayed it, like you said.
you
You could have made it
downplayed it
seem
like,
like,
oh,
yeah,
it's outpatient. I'll be in and out. No biggie. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Who knows?
yeah. That's fair. Good luck to you, my guy. I think especially for men, you know, there's a level of connectivity that happens where you're able to connect with other men, and
Yeah.
so I'm hoping that you have a strong circle and that it's just like sisterhood. There's no one who's going to tell you about yourself as a woman than another woman that you revere and respect. So, hoping that you find the brotherhood that you're seeking. So I felt maybe it would be nice to kind of circle back to a moment in time of a conversation we were having where you brought up a victim mentality, right? And I figured that would be a really good topic to discuss in the future. We couldn't really go in depth with it just based on what we were talking about then, but I thought it would be nice to talk about like victimhood and that kind of like victim mentality and what that does in correlation to friendship. How do friends show up to help people? How do they not enable it? And
Mm,
how do individuals triumph over circumstances that they truly feel were not of their own volition?
mm.
Um, so I think the first thing I would like to ask is when you think about victim or victimhood, what do you think about? What would be your definition of that?
Um, I would say, starting with that victim, where you are the one that is being, that is suffering in the situation. Things are happening to you beyond your control, where you are put in a position where you are treated in a way that causes you to be injured, whether that's physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally. So, yeah.
When you think about a victim or someone who has been victimized, um, if let's say that they are someone who is close to you, what's your first initial reaction? Like, what's your instinct to want to do?
Um, Someone close to me, definitely to see how I can empathize first. A lot of times I'll say, I'm so sorry you're going through that. I'm so sorry this happened to you. And just let validation, so validate what they're going through.
Why do you
empathize with
think
them.
validation is so important?
Um, just that someone sees you, you know? It's just like it hurts to go through a place where you're suffering and nobody even acknowledges it, you know? And but it's just so powerful when someone can say, "Hey, you know, I see that you're hurting." And I'm just so, even if they can't do anything about it, it's just like, thank you that you just even acknowledge the fact that I'm in pain. And even though you can't solve my problem, for some reason, for us human beings, that alone does something for us.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that for sure. So, we both have been in each other's lives and friends for a very long time. We've known some of the things we've gone through
Ooh, we.
together as individuals.
Ooh, we. Ah. Oh,
Okay,
no.
the stories will unfold with time. Perhaps a book one day, maybe even a TV show. Who knows?
Who knows?
But if these walls could talk,
Ooh, we.
I know that there have been times in your life where you have felt victimized.
Mm-hmm.
And so, what are ways that you look for the people who say that they care about you to show up?
That's a powerful
And
question.
I want to just make a second part to that.
Okay.
While you're thinking about those ways, have you created space for those individuals to show up in the ways that you desire?
I love that. I think what I'm looking for is again validation, acknowledgement. If I hurt, you know, a lot of times for my close friends,
Mm-hmm.
just let me talk, like just maybe let me vent, or not just vent, but just express myself. Because that is one of the, everybody's not this way, but I talk to make sense of it. Some people talk within, I talk without, right? Like I talk on the outside, it helps me process. Some people are inward processors, some people are outside processors. I'm an outside processor. So when I talk about my feelings or things, it helps me to like let it go or move on or find some kind of reconcile it, you know. Not always, but some ways I will sometimes get, it helps me, you know, to talk about it. So just validating that I'm hurting and just giving me some time to talk about it. Or also I would say for me, I want you to pray for me. Can you get a prayer through? Huh?
Are you on the main line? Can you tell them what you want?
Will he answer if you call? No, I'm just, you know what I'm saying? Like, I be need prayer. Like, so I want you to be able to pray for me. You know, in those moments when you can't pray for yourself, like you don't have the words, you don't, like you're so broken, you don't even, you can't.
Mm-hmm.
And so, for me, my expectation, thirdly, is that you pray for me. If you my close, if we like this, we're like this because spiritually we're in alignment as well. So my expectation is that you pray for me. I don't want you to be like, oh, you know, go get him, killer. You know,
Give them that bumper sticker, and
you know,
not just because people be saying they gonna pray for you, and they don't be
and I
praying.
don't
I
pray.
go to your tower, and the watchman is asleep, and I don't appreciate that. Wake up! Sound the alarm. Ask
Yes,
you to pray.
get up. You know what I'm saying?
Like,
You
like
know,
for
like
real.
no, my expectation, like if we're spiritually aligned, if we're like this, we're spiritually
Mm-hmm.
aligned. That's just
Absolutely.
that's a prerequisite to be my inner. We gotta be, you gotta be able to cover me. I gotta be able to cover you prayer wise, and that's important to me. Because I seen God answer some prayers, okay? And when you're going through, you know, you want someone that can speak into your life, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's for me, that's very, very important. And then I would say, lastly, if you, I'm not big on this, but it's appreciated. I probably won't ask you for nothing. as far as physically. You know what I'm saying? I have to be down bad for me to be like, can you bring me something physically? A lot of times what'll do it for me is you just being there emotionally and like in prayer and like spiritually. Like, but a lot of times I don't ask for things as much physically. But if you do feel it on your heart to do it, I always do appreciate it. But a lot of times I'm not good at asking for it. So that's not usually an expectation of mine. But if it is done, then it is deeply appreciated.
That's fair. I wanted to kind of have this conversation because the the longer and deeper you grow in the connections and the friendships that you build, there is a very huge likelihood that you will come across this happening. I think
Mm-hmm.
we hear the word victim and we automatically assume it has to be this like terrible
Yeah,
occurrence
no.
and something traumatic, and sometimes it is that, but sometimes it really
Sometimes.
is like, sometimes it's the closer you get to someone, you realize that they may have been victimized before you even met them.
Yeah.
Childhood trauma,
Yeah.
those kind of things. And so you're helping them get through it. And I wanted to kind of talk through what victimhood looks like, how friends show up, and how we not only help to overcome it, but don't enable it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I think you and I share very similar thoughts around taking back your power.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, absolutely.
So I looked up what victimhood was
Mm-hmm.
just to kind of get an idea. I looked up victim and I also looked up victimhood. The reason I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to differentiate between victim and victimhood was because um, a victim is an occurrence and
Mm-hmm.
victimhood is a state. That's where you
Powerful.
stay. So, victimhood refers to a state of mind where a person perceives themselves as being constantly oppressed, mistreated, or
Mm.
disadvantaged by external circumstances or other people.
Mm-hmm.
Individuals in a victimhood mindset often believe that they have little control over their lives and
Powerful.
tend to focus on their grievances rather than seeking solutions or taking responsibility for their actions.
Yeah.
This mentality can hinder personal growth, resilience, and overall well being.
Yeah.
When,
Powerful.
when I saw that,
That's a whole revelation.
when
That'll
I
preach
saw
right there.
that,
That'll preach.
Tarrah, when I saw that, I was taken
That's
aback. I
powerful.
was taken aback
Yeah,
when
that's
I saw
heavy.
that,
That's heavy.
because I was like, I'm such a I'm such a person who wants people to feel what they feel and go through and get. And I was like, man, though, you can sometimes enable people. You can coddle it to a point where they can stay there. And
Mm-hmm.
I think it's so interesting. I'm just now making this correlation that we're talking about this on Mother's Day because parents have a play. Parents know when their children are actually hurt or when they are just seeking attention, or
Mm-hmm.
when I got to put down the tough love, or I got to do this, or I got to do that. A lot of times parents will know that. So I think it's really interesting that we're having this conversation today, because I think as friends we really need to be equipped
Mm-hmm.
to be a part of that journey with
Mm-hmm.
people we say we care about. So have you ever had a situation where you really felt like, and I don't want to mince words, but I do want to be careful because
Mm-hmm.
trauma and occurrences that happen to you, especially when they are outside of your control, and especially like when they're unwarranted and unfair, um, should be taken very as heavily as they were, as of importance as they are.
Mm-hmm.
but you also don't want to give it to the power to dictate the rest of your life. So
Yes, the rest of your life.
I'm wondering, like, have you ever encountered a situation where you started to realize someone in your friendship circle or someone close to you was really like staying in that loop, right? They may have been on the Ferris wheel of that victimization, and it's not just uh I can't get over that this happened. It's almost like a badge they start to wear. This is who I
Mm.
am. Have you ever experienced someone being in your immediate circle? And if you have, how did you handle that?
I yes, and I've experienced in not in my closest circle, but just kind of on a like a mentee level.
Hmm.
And
Oh yeah.
and I think there's compassion. I think honestly, I try to be sensitive to the moment. What I feel like is important for that moment and where they are,
Hmm.
and I'll give you time to talk and get it out your system. But if I feel like it's a feedback loop, like you said, at some point I'm probably gonna say something to the effect of, um, "What do you want for your future?
That's a good question.
You know
That's a really
what
good question.
like what is your dream, your new dream? Do you have a new dream, or what is the dream that you've always had that still hasn't changed just because that happened?
Mm.
And I try to help them refocus on what they want from the future and what they want to be and experience. Um, and just talk about, man, and help them to reimagine a new life despite what they've been through, because it's just not over. But when you're in trauma and drama, it's like all you can see is what you've been through. But that is the past now. It's now the past. And you are in the present. And the only way that you're going to stay there is if you keep bringing it back into your present. So, helping them to visualize that, and then ask them questions like, oh, okay, well, what is it going to take to get there? You want to do this? Okay, well, what do we have to do? Okay, I probably need to get over this, or I probably need to talk to someone. And they answer their own questions. They're smart. People are smart. And I feel like my inner circle is smart. So a lot of times people can answer their own questions. They just need a wall to bounce off of. Like, okay, well, what is it going to take for you want to lose weight? You want to gain weight? You want to do whatever? You want to reach your goal? Okay, what's going to take? Okay, do you want me to help accountability wise? Like, is this something I can do? What can I do to help you? Okay, cool. We can do that.
Yeah.
And so we got a new vision. Now we just got a new plan, and you just got some accountability all in one look. And then when you come to me talking about that old stuff again, okay, is that what we want in our future? Like, how is that adding to what we talked about? The plan, right? That's not a part of the plan. So we have to release that. We have to let that go and release them.
I completely agree with that. I feel like we if we're gonna say like you're a sounding board, you're an accountability partner, you're all these factors in my life that hold significant weight, we really have to be not only steadfast but courageous
Mm-hmm.
in being able to say things and hold people to the esteem in which they have expressed that they want to be held to.
Mm-hmm.
I had situations where I truly felt like this particular person in my friendship group didn't know who they were outside of being a victim. And so because
Mm.
that was their identity, because it was easy, I'm not going to say easy, easier for them to continue with that mentality, they chose to not deal with what was happening. And I'm not going to say it's happened often in my camp, but I've had enough occurrences where I've seen both sides, where I have been able to have the courage to address it because I care and because I know you can change and because I want to see you do better. I've done it in both instances, and there was one instance where it worked out well, and there was one instance where it didn't work out well.
Oh, wow.
And I had to learn eventually that that response had nothing to do with me wanting better. It was just where this person was comfortable living.
Yeah. Yeah. And everybody doesn't want or is ready for change.
Absolutely not.
And that healing, that that process from going from victim to victor
Mm-hmm.
is a process, and it's work.
Mm-hmm.
It is work. It is inner
It's
work.
not easy work
It
either.
is not easy work. It is challenging work. You know, going through workbooks, going to places where you're held accountable, looking in the mirror, letting go of your parts and pieces of your
Going back to the
personality.
actual incident in your mind.
Yeah,
Really, yeah.
letting go of your former self, like who you thought you were, and now you see that that's not where you need to be, and letting go of that is so much attached to that process of change and that process of being made new and starting over and all of that. And everybody don't want to do that.
A lot of people don't want to do that.
No, for
A
real,
majority of people
a
don't want to do
lot.
that. I mean,
Some
even the
people
people who do it don't want to do it
don't
initially.
really want to
They
do
just do
it.
it.
It would be easier to find a vice and indulge and
Yeah.
indulge until you can't feel anymore.
Mhm.
That's the easy thing to do.
That's why we have. That's why addiction. That's one of the reasons addictions exist.
A
You're
hundred percent.
looking. You're
A
looking for
hundred
something.
percent.
Yeah.
You were traumatized, you were victimized, and then you turn to addiction to soothe yourself, to self-soothe. And that's not it's since the beginning of time.
Absolutely.
So that's nothing new, but everybody's not ready for that change to do that work. And it's not until they are ready
How do
to do
we?
that.
How do we though have this kind of median that happens right where what is there? I wouldn't say there's a specific timeline that you could put on because there's no one size fits all with this camp.
Yeah.
But how do we distinguish, like, okay, I'm compassionate, I understand what happened, but like, when do we approach to say, I love you and it's time to move on? Like, I love you and I care about your well being, and you staying here isn't contributing to you being better, even if you
Yeah,
don't
that's
want to
tight.
hear it or not.
Yeah, that's tight. That's tight. I think being sensitive to the moment, um, and being sensitive to I think it's just one of those things you really have to be led. I'm a believer, and I believe in God, and I believe God will communicate. Um, I believe God will communicate to you, like in that moment. Like, am I supposed to say this? I feel like this is what I'm supposed to say. And you should be sensitive, especially when you're dealing with someone like that you really care about, and someone who's been through some tough times. So, yeah, I believe that's important to just be sensitive to that moment, because sometimes there are moments where it's time for a tough love, a time for a little bit of tough love, and then there are moments where it's time for some empathy. So I think a well-rounded conversation, and if y'all are really friends, your friends can take all of it.
Mm.
You know, if y'all are really friends, they can handle you telling them, I get what you're saying, but here's another perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what do you think about this? Can I share another perspective on this? You know, and if y'all are really friends, they should be able to receive what you have to say, because it is coming from a place of love. It really is. And when you tell me something, it's going to be different than some ninja on the street telling me something. When you come to me and say, Tarrah, look, I really feel like X, like, hear my heart on this. I really feel like X, Y, and Z. I'm a step back,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna be like, all right, I'm gonna take that. I accept that. You know, if it challenges me, it challenges me. But you need that. And if you don't say that, you know, but
If you,
because we have that relationship,
mm-hmm.
you should be able to tell me, and I'll be like, okay, man, it is, you know. But
Or I should
you,
still be able to tell you, even if I don't know if you'll be receptive to it or
yes,
not.
we've had to tell
I was
each
gonna
other
say,
things
yeah, there have
that
been
was not comfortable, and tell, you know, let each other know, yeah, that ain't,
that's not it.
that's not it,
Mm-hmm.
that's not it. And so that's just what it is. If y'all are really friends, that should be able, that conversation should be one that happens without this, how dare you, who do you think you are,
Mm-hmm.
like, I would never, oh my God. Because the truth of the matter is, I'm only telling you this because I love you. If I didn't care about you, I wouldn't say nothing. I would just let you go to your demise.
Right. I think that's what I was trying to like understand, because you can have it. A lot of us will visualize the way a conversation will go. We'll create these scenarios and just different things like that. But regardless of the outcome, I think if it's a situation where you feel not only confident enough in your friendship and love with this person, but safe enough to say these things, even if it isn't a what you said, I hear you, or it makes me introspective and I start to think about things, even if I'm just like, okay, you know, and you know, like it could feel like it's going in one ear and out the other. You still felt comfortable enough to say it, because it makes me think about we have had situations, not just you and I, but like mutual friends where you've had to say things that they may not have
Oh
been
yeah.
open to hearing
Oh
at that
yeah.
time, but you had to say it because of the love. I think
I know they
also
cussed me
because
out when they got off the phone. I know they did. And I was okay with it.
but they didn't do it then, right? They heard you, and and
Yeah.
I'm not saying whether it happened or it didn't happen. I'm just saying, like, you know, that steadfastness in the love and respect and hope you had for their future pushed you to say things that maybe you
And
thought they weren't ready to receive.
And people have done it to me. I'll give you an example. My sister, super close. We were the only ones here in Texas, only family that I had. Her children, her husband. I helped raise her children. I was there when they were all born, helped nanny them, helped teach them. Like, those are like, it's Mother's Day. Those are like, Aunt Mom tea. Like my kids, but they didn't come from my body. You know, like, I helped raise them.
Mm,
And I got news that they were moving to, like, across the country.
mm,
And that was my only family here. I helped raise them. Like, I was a big part. I was at every event, at all the plays and the games. I went on vacation with them. Like, it was a very, very close relationship. Shout out to my family. But when I found out, I was devastated, like literally crying daily about this. And I talked to the oldest of my sisters. This is the other sister. She's the oldest. And she basically said to me, let that go. Like let it go. You're at a point in your life where you should be focused on living your own life. Basically, those are not your children.
Man,
When I
what
when I
a
say
slap.
when I say space burning, stung, like those are not your kids. Like you need to be focused on readying your life so you can one day have your own kids. And I was like, ugh. Because in my heart, I felt like they weren't my kids, but I felt kind of like motherly to them, and they met this nurturing need that I had to nurture. You know, I feel like some people have a need to nurture, and I'm one of those people. Like I have a need to love. I love kids. Like that was a need I had, and they were fulfilling that. And so for them to move across the country, it was devastating for me. And so for her to say, "Those are not your kids," I was like, how dare you don't know what it's like? I was there when they were born. That was a tough conversation. But it was honestly what I needed. It sobered me up to say, hey, those aren't your kids. You need to be focused on getting your life to where you want it to be after recovering from X, Y, and Z, and having the victory in these areas so that you can have your own children. And that sobered me up. But that was a hard conversation. I don't think she cared that it hurt my feelings.
I feel like the oldest child has like this.
They got a different kind
They got a
of.
different kind of spirit. Like they got a different kind of
They different.
They really are different. And being the youngest, I see as I'm getting older now, my older siblings I'm like, y'all built different.
Y'all built different. Them oldest.
Yeah, and a piece of it is because out of necessity you had to have
You
like,
had to.
but them older kids they really like they don't care.
She did not.
It is. I'm gonna tell you what you being ridiculous.
She gave it to me. Oh, you don't know what it's like.
Because
But it's
that's a
stuck
hard conversation. Like I could imagine that. Not only is this like you my sister, you my friend, and I'm losing the only family I have in the city, and I've been
within
around. And
thousands of miles.
you gonna tell me she dropped a fact. That's fact. The
Facts.
fact
Those are not your
of the
kids.
reality is it's not your children.
Those aren't your kids. They can move wherever you want. Get over it.
They
I'm
are their own
crying for
family unit.
days. For days. No more soccer games. No more.
No more
No more
recitals. No
plays.
more
No more
going for
recital.
holidays.
But here's the
No
thing.
more.
I was so involved in their life. I even worked at their after school camp. Like
Oh
I was
wow.
everywhere. We were so ingrained for every holiday, I was there for everything.
For
Um,
every mountain.
so it was just a super large piece of my life that was leaving again after a lot of leaving. So it wasn't just them leaving. It was like a lot of loss in this final piece, which felt for me like loss. But for her perspective, she's like, no, this is not loss. This is making room for what you want in the future, and that's how you need to see it. And that's what I think is so powerful about what friends can really do. They can help shift perspective and see things from a new way. Yes, you're viewing this as loss right now, but I'm viewing this as you getting free and making room for a new relationship that one day you'll have your own children, and preparing you to have your own children. And so that's ultimately what you want, right? Right. Okay, well, what are you going to do to prepare yourself for that? So, although it was tight, it was right and she wasn't wrong. And I don't know that it would have helped reorient me if she wasn't so brash. No, I'm just okay.
She
If
was
she wasn't so like, listen, wake
straightforward,
up,
straightforward with you,
straightforward.
which is not everyone's approach, but that's y'all have that relationship, so
We have that relationship. So it do really, honestly, it does depend on the relationship. Everybody
yeah.
is not going to be able to speak to you in that way. You understand what I'm saying? So there are people in your
They
life
may
that can
tell you
check
the
you.
same thing. It just may sound different or look
Yeah.
different for sure.
Yeah. And sometimes you
Absolutely.
need a little, you
You need a
know,
shock sometimes.
you need a
Sometimes you
shock
need,
to your
and
system.
I think that's so important because it's so true
So true.
when you're in it, especially the thick of the trauma. And when I say thick of the trauma, I don't mean that it just happened. I mean when you're actually like thinking about it or dealing with it. It could be childhood, whatever, and it's coming back to your forefront. And for whatever reason, God or whatever reason is happening, you're having to deal with it. We have this tunnel vision.
Hmm.
We only see the headlights in front of us, partially because we're just trying to get out of the darkness. We're just trying to
That's
get through and
powerful.
navigate. There are people though who are able to take that tunnel. That tunnel is gone, and they see an aerial view,
Hmm.
and that's the importance I think friends should hold when they come to
Yes.
you. I
Yes.
see this aerial view. I see the total picture. Like you're at a standstill here. You're in some traffic, right?
Yeah.
If you turn left or if you go right, I need you to do this to get out of that so that we
Hmm.
can get you around it so that you can really become who I know you're supposed to be and like you can get
Hmm.
over it and move on with your life. And it's just like so for I have a sensitivity inclination to where I know hurt exists and I know people have to get through the hurt. Even though I hate that people have to go through it, I am someone who will push you to get through that hurt because I
Hmm.
know what lies on the other side.
On the other side, yeah. Hmm.
And it's not just because it's an inclination inside of me. It's because I've also gone through it myself. Like I
Hmm.
know you have to get through certain things. And this is why I really wanted to use the term victim and victimhood, because in victimization, things happen to you
Things
that you had no
happen.
control over.
No
That
control.
it's not fair.
It's not fair.
It is not just.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
should have in your mind. It should have never happened.
Yeah.
Like that is the definition of victimization in a
Hmm.
nutshell.
Hmm.
And getting over it's easy for the human mind to get through things that we feel like were our fault or like, oh,
Hmm. Hmm.
but I've also realized that when you stay in that victim mentality, you start to fabricate things to make it your fault.
Mm.
And
Hmm.
that for me also isn't okay. And I don't want that to happen.
Hmm.
At the end of the day, if something happened to you that was unjust, and there's nothing you can do about it. And we've seen this in pop culture. We've seen it. Oh, where were you? Were you out late? What were you wearing? You know what I'm saying? Like there are all these kind of things that like try to make it seem like you
Hmm.
could have put yourself in a better situation.
Yeah.
But as someone who cares about you, I think it goes back to the question that you asked about what you want your future to look like. And I think a part of that is what are you hoping to gain
Hmm.
by reliving it in that manner?
Yes. What are you getting from this? How is this helping you get to where you want to be? It's not.
It's
It's
not.
doing the opposite.
That is the bottom. It's not.
It's not. It's not helping you get to where you want for your future. It's not. So we gotta
Where
let
do
it
we
go.
go? Where
We
do we
gotta let it
go?
go. Yeah.
Now, for the individuals, I don't know if you've ever encountered this. I have, not necessarily in my close camp,
Mm-hmm.
but I've known people who hold on to that victimhood because of the attention it garners,
Mm-hmm.
because of again, going back to that's my identity, and the world just isn't fair, and it's easier for me to say like nothing's my fault, everybody's against me.
Mm-hmm.
How would you approach, if you haven't had to do it, or if you have, you can share
Mm-hmm.
a personal example, how would you approach it for someone with that kind of mentality of it's just like, no, like the world is messed up and I've had all these things happen to me, and they just, I guess for lack of better terms, don't take ownership for the circumstances,
Mm-hmm.
because at the end of the day, regardless of if it happened outside of, I mean, victim mentality is never just, but regardless of if it was unjust or not, it's yours now.
Mm. It's the cards you were dealt.
Yeah.
It's the cards you were
It's the
dealt.
cards you were dealt. That's
Yeah.
exactly what I was trying to say. It's
Mm-hmm.
the cards you were dealt. How do you get someone to ante up, like play at the poker table and be like, I'm not just going to let life keep dealing me
Mm-hmm.
these cards. I want to actually take control of what has happened and move forward.
Yeah. As friends, we can just. It's tough being watching your friend go through hard things.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you really love somebody deeply, and you have to watch them, you know, in pain and in struggle and all of that. That's hard. But one thing you can't do is you can't take it on for yourself. You can't take on their stuff,
Yeah.
and you can't control them. And you can't jump in their body and wake up and make them get in the shower and get back on the horse. You can't do that. All you can do is support them, make yourself available to them, show them that you care. I just think about just little things that would make things easier for me, whether it was a joke, you know,
Mm-hmm.
just reminding them that they're more than what they went through. You're more than that. This is not your identity. This is not who you are. Yeah, you experienced that, but you were somebody long before that. I often remind people who they were before the situation. Like, you always been a go-getter. You do this. This is who you are. Like, you don't let people do this to you. You've been this way. And help them remember, because this new person that emerged from this destruction isn't them. It's just this, it's like a version of them, but it's not the true them, and it's who they had to become to survive.
Now it's
So
our what was that movie, Jordan Peele? Us is our tunnel person that we become.
so you know who you become, and so remind them you were this person. Remember when you did
Mm-hmm.
this? Remember when you weren't scared, you weren't doing any of this. Remind them of who they are. And but at the end of the day, you have to give them space to process. And
Mm-hmm.
everybody's process is different.
Yeah.
And it sucks sometimes, because sometimes your friends ain't going through it, and they not fun. It's like, man, we used to have fun all the time. Now you depressed and all that. And I'm saying that jokingly, but I'm saying, like, when people are going
Yeah.
through the fire, you ever had a friend go through the literal
And
fire?
they're a shell of themselves.
They are not themselves.
Yeah.
They can't be hanging out with you and having fun, like they
Mm-hmm.
used to. Um, if they're grieving a divorce, they're grieving the loss of a loved one. I don't care how much fun is going on. If you miss a parent, if you lost somebody, it's just there until it
Grief.
has
Yeah.
until they have processed, until they can get back up. But that's not fun.
Yeah.
And you just got to be there. You just got to be there for them
Mm-hmm.
the best you can, and give them the space to process. Don't smother them. Don't enable them. Check in on them. Be there for them. And that checking in is relative. Some people don't want you checking them on them all day, calling them every day. How is it? How you feel? Me, I don't like that.
Don't ask the same question. I
Thank
don't like
you.
that. Don't
Thank
ask
you.
me
Don't
every
keep
day.
asking me. Don't
It's
keep
been
asking
24
me.
hours. If a
Ain't nothing
breakthrough had
happened.
happened, I would have told you.
You see what I'm saying? I don't personally like all that extra checking.
I
No.
don't like that.
But
Yeah.
some people, that makes them feel loved. So you got to find out what your friend needs in that moment. Like, are they someone that they wants, like, you got to have them on surveillance and like check them in? Or are they one of the people just check on me and then leave me alone? And I am that. I am check on me and then leave me alone. Because I often need some kind of separation to help me process some things. I'm an
Mhm.
artist and I retreat and kind of figure things out. And I come back out, but that's kind of, I don't want you to check on me every day, all day. That's a little bit much. So you have to find out what your friend needs and then try to do that. But they need space to process, and you can't rush them. You can't rush them. Um, Sometimes we want to rush them because we want them to get back to the old them, but they'll probably never be the old them again.
Mm.
They'll probably never be that person again. And you gotta, like, sometimes you grieve that as a friend, like, man, I used to call them for this, and this, and I cannot do that.
Wow. That's that's actually a second part to that. We can revisit, but that whole, like, they're not the person that they were and they never will be.
They never will be again
Now, how do
the
you? Yeah,
same.
that is another conversation about navigating that friendship and what it looks like being friends with a new version of someone. I think to condense it down into a small statement for me would be, it's like any relationship. The only relationships that are successful marriages, friendships, even partnerships and in business, are people who don't box you in and allow you to continue to
Evolve.
shed that shell and
Mm-hmm.
evolve into the
Mm-hmm.
new version. Every
Mm-hmm.
successful marriage story I've ever heard was, somebody been married 50 years and they'll be like, the person I am married to now wasn't the person I was married to 20 years
Right,
ago or
right,
10 years
right,
ago or whatever.
right.
So I think that's very important to give that space for sure.
Yeah.
I guess where we can end, I think for me, I agree with everything that you said for sure. Giving them the space, reading the room. People
Read
got
the
to read the
freaking
room.
room, yo.
If that is not a
Oh my
thing
God.
you have taken from this podcast, we are proponents of reading the room. And if you
Read the
don't know
room,
how to
yo.
read the room, you need to learn. You read the room by knowing people. You read the room by knowing yourself and knowing other people. If you can't
And
read the room, that means you don't know them as well as you think, and you also probably don't know yourself as well as you think.
and you probably are too into yourself to be
Yeah.
able to be aware of what's going on with other people. You lack self-awareness. You're too focused and into what you're doing and not paying attention into how other people are doing in the moment.
Yeah.
And if it's someone's in a traumatized moment, you need to be sensitive and stop thinking about yourself.
Man.
Like, that is terrible. Like, please don't do that. People are hurting and you just like, yeah, so what's for this? No, yo.
Don't
No, no, no. And people
you
never forget that. They
They'll
never forget
never
that.
forget it. Even if they don't bring it up again,
Yeah, they never
it
forget.
can set a precedence. It's like,
Yeah.
um it's like someone's in a hole
Mm-hmm.
and you climb down with them, and instead of just saying, like, because sometimes we don't know what to say, right? Instead of just saying, I don't
Mm-hmm.
have any words, I don't know what to say, I'm glad that you trusted me enough to tell me, and I'm just
Mm-hmm.
here with you. You
Mm-hmm.
climb down and you're like, well, at least this. You start the comparison of, well, you at least you have this, or like if somebody says,
Some people in Africa don't. What?
right, it's like you
No.
climb down in a hole with a friend who has just experienced, let's say, a miscarriage or something. Oh, well, at least you have one healthy baby. If they already have a, like, no. Oh, hey, do you want a sandwich? Like, no. That is not the time to, I I know the intentionality behind it is to try to shed light on the positive, but what that does is it doesn't make space and, like you said, acknowledge the hurt
The
and
pain
the
that they're in.
pain that they're going through at that moment. And that is of one of the highest importance when you're dealing with someone who's going through trauma, is the acknowledgement of it, is that this did happen to you, and I'm so sorry that it happened to you, and this has no relativity to anything else right
Mm-hmm.
now. This is what's
Mm-hmm.
happening.
Mm-hmm.
I think for me, I do those steps, and I also like, and it's not an easy thing to do, but for me, I push forgiveness
Mm-hmm.
immediately off the bat. I'm just like, I know it sounds crazy and I know it's going to be difficult, but the sooner you can just forgive the
Mm-hmm.
person or the thing that did this to you, I
Mm-hmm.
guarantee you the better you will be off.
Mm-hmm.
And people don't be trying to hear that, but we got like, unforgiveness is a cage for so many people,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you don't even realize you're in this cage.
Yeah. 100%.
And the only key to unlock it is just forgiving them,
Yeah, for
and
sure.
moving forward.
Yeah, I remember like 2 weeks after like some traumatic in my divorce process, and I was like, I remember praying. It was like I felt like God was saying, "Do you want to be mad or do you want to move on?"
Mm. Do you want to be mad or do you want to move on? My goodness.
And I felt like He made it clear to me that I could not have both, and that was
That
a
is
real question. And
big.
And here's why it was interesting, because I was in a very vulnerable place financially, and I was up for a new job and a new position, and I knew that I needed this job. I knew that I needed this, and it was just like I felt like I was saying, like, if you want this job, you're gonna have to forgive this person. That, like, you're not gonna be able to move on, and I can't open these doors for you, or you're not going to be able to have the life that you desire unless you forgive this person. But
Mm,
you get a choice. You can stay and be mad
you
for as long
do.
as you want. But
I
if
think
your
unforgiveness
goal,
is what cages people into victimhood, to be
yeah,
honest.
yeah, and if your goal is to move on, you're gonna have to forgive. So it's your choice. Whatever you want to do, it's up to you. And I
You
was
said
like,
that's
no, I want to move on and I want to stay here. But I also wanted to be mad. I was mad that I couldn't stay mad. I'm like, I want to be mad for like 2 more weeks. And it was like, nah, I ain't got time for 2 more weeks. I need this job.
why.
If I ain't had that job coming up, I'd have been mad long. I promise. I'm sure I would have been mad. I wanted to stay mad so bad. He's like, nope.
Because you feel vindicated. You feel like
You
you're
feel
right. You're
justified.
justified. It's like, I have a
I,
right.
I have
This
a
person
right.
did XYZ to me.
Yup. I don't want to let them off the hook. They don't deserve my, you know what I'm saying? All
But
of that.
forgiveness ain't got nothing to do with them.
Nothing to do with them.
Everything to do with you.
Everything to do with your soul being poisoned.
Untethered.
Yes, stuck to them,
Yeah.
tied to them, and whatever they're doing or not doing. And it's just like, I release you. I release you, and I wish you well. And that don't come overnight. It's a process. You're gonna
Mm-mm.
forgive them people over and over again. Nobody talks about that. You're
You,
gonna forgive people over the same person, oh, in layers and waves.
I have literally laid prostrate in the Facebook for hours, and I forgive the same name
And
over and over and over.
you might have to do it again in 2 weeks.
And
And you
I
might have
did
to
it
do it again
again,
early
and I'm
next
gonna do it
month.
again, and I do it again. Like,
You might have to keep doing it for maybe a year. You keep doing it, but like you might have to continue to, like, when they do something new, or when you have to come in contact, or when you have a
because
memory.
forgiveness isn't a feeling;
It's not a
it's an
feeling.
action. It's a
It's a
choice.
decision. It's a decision.
Mm-hmm.
Or when in memory of something terrible they did to you comes back, like, you remember when they did, and you're like, I forgive them, and I'm going to a whole nother level. I forgave them. I'm not going back. So I wish them well. Be blessed, saints. Like, yeah, so yeah, that's powerful. That's the answer. That's the key to all of it right there. Is forgiveness for sure.
It's not easy. We started off by prefacing this conversation by saying that the introspective work, it ain't easy.
No.
Easy.
But the fact that you share that as a friend, man, only real friends can tell you, like, I think that's our job as friends, to really help each other
It's
to
our
remember.
responsibility.
Yeah, to really help each other just navigate those times, and remember who we are. Like Simba. No, I'm just joking. You are my son. Okay. But like, remember who we are, and to realize that, hey, this is part of it. You know this. We gotta forgive. We gotta move forward. And you need someone that loves you and that's close enough to you to say,
Mm-hmm.
something needs to be said about this. Do you think you really forgiven them?
Yeah.
You know,
We can go on and on with this
we
conversation,
could
but
go on and on for
we
this.
are on the late front here. We got started later than we would have wanted to in this evening. It's getting late. We both
Late.
have jobs and lives and things we need to get to. So maybe there'll be a part two. Maybe if you want more, you can tune into some of our past episodes where we've deep dived into conversations. But I'm so thankful we were able to have this talk today
Give
on
us feedback.
here.
We need feedback. We need
Yeah,
y'all to tell
I
us.
be telling, like, email us in, let us know what
Comment.
you like, comment, subscribe, let us know what you're liking, even let us know what you're not liking. Give us, if you want to hear specific topics for us to discuss, let us know in the comments. I'll end with our quote of the day. I saw this and I was like, interesting. So the quote is, love without strength leads to victimhood, and strength without love leads to tyranny. That's from Trevor
Mm.
Boheme. It's an author, but yeah, you all know where to find us. Thank you so much for tuning in for another episode of the Friendship University podcast, Friendship Fridays. You know how we do. You can find us on all social media platforms at the same handle. That is Funny Podcast at FUNIPODCAST. That is on TikTok. That is on Twitter. That is also on Instagram. You can also find us on YouTube to get this
Follow us
visual.
right now.
Okay, because this visual ain't easy. It ain't easy being cheesy. We
Follow
out
us on YouTube
here. We are
right
on
now.
YouTube. Friendship University podcast. Like, comment, subscribe. Do what you need to do. If you're listening to us on a streaming platform with just the vocals, leave us a comment, leave us a 5-star review. Let us know how you really feel about the podcast. There is a small way that you can help us so that we can continue to bring you this information, these conversations, whatever you're looking for, week over week. We'll have Tarrah's information in the subscription box as well, or not subscription, the description box below as well, if you want to follow her and get more information about how to brand yourself how to be the best looking version of yourself too, because my girl does beauty tips as well. 5-minute looks. Let me tell you something, saved my life. Yeah, so thank you all for tuning in for another week. We are the Friendship University Podcast, and we out. Bye.
Bye.